Hello. What's playing? Hello, hello. Oh, you guys can hear me. I'm making sure my audio is working. Sorry about that. Getting ready to go live. 50 seconds out. Oh, hey, Eric. It's good to see you. I got something to show you.
Megtooth Sabers requires a lot of work on engineering, drilling, smoothing, tapping, setting, imagining, cutting, stripping, twisting, dipping, tin it, pin it, wire it, fire it, lock it, blast it, swing it, bash it. Megtooth Sabers.
How about now? Ha ha ha! Thank you, Jeff. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. And I want to say, hey, Smooth Jazz family, Michael Dallin, Jeff Birch, Israel Formus, everybody, Kendall Hall. Hey, everybody. Hopefully we'll have sound by the time you guys see this. Colin, Max, great to see everybody. Yeah, all fixed. Minor glitch. But this is a TeensySaber, and this is the predecessor to Profi. Now, Frederick Cubinet also made this shield board, which went on the Teensy 3.2, and this shield board was called a TeensySaber, and it was called TeensySaber because, hey, Fernando, it was called TeensySaber because Frederick's shield board had to work with a Teensy. So when Frederick invented Profi didn't need a Teensy board anymore. It was a standalone board. So everyone's like, well, why the name changed? And it's because Frederick's board no longer requires Teensy, so it's just Profi. It's all by itself. But Profi was also, TeensySaber was also the beginning of Profi. So this is basically like Profi V1. And then the Profi 1.5s were Profi V2, and now the new version is Profi V3, but it's more complicated than that. But this saber I installed in March of 2018. That's coming up on 3 years ago. And this one is installed with TeensySaber, so you can see the sandwich board stacked in there. It's a sandwich board. This is a Goth Master chassis in metal. And I'm going to turn this thing on.
Close your eyes.
Oh, that gave away the secret.
The light. It's always been there. It will guide you. The saber. Take it.
So I've upgraded this TeensySaber to OS 5.7 with battle mode and gesture ignitions. TeensySaber. Look, Ma, no buttons.
I'm from the Resistance. Your sister Leia sent me. We need your help.
The buttons are here and here. I'm not touching them. So that really came out incredible. And the funny thing is this is the genius of sorry, I'm putting the back of the hilt on. This is really the genius of But at any rate, upgraded the TeensySaber. We'll try to put the blade on that in a little bit. This is almost a coming up on a 3-year-old Saber, and I've upgraded it with the modern OS, and even the force push works. So if anybody was wondering, your TeensySabers are still relevant. So if you have a lightsaber installed with a TeensySaber, you can upgrade the OS and put battle mode and motion gestures on your TeensySaber too. So that is first off. Oh, so we got Fernando on here, we got Cole, we got Mike, Max, Kim Kanama. Hey everybody, great to see y'all. Now, this is for Smooth Jazz Family. Smooth Jazz Family, I got your battery. Man. So, I think that's the rainbow thing you said is messed up, and I'll fix that. Now, this font, this is the POV, and on a full blade, it spells out Star Wars in the air, and this blade takes up a lot of memory. But if you don't move the saber, it doesn't work. But if you move the saber, you can see it going. This is a persistency of view blade, and it spells out Star Wars in the air if you shake it back and forth really fast. But that's what that is. But I got your battery. I've already built the config. So now that I have your battery, I can build the config, test everything, make sure it works. But the config's already built for this. So I just wanted you to see that. It's already done. But that's your old config in there. But your new config is in there. Now, I'll show that in a minute. I want to show Smooth Jazz Family your ESB Graflex. We're in business. You got all your fonts, all the new fonts that you requested, and the new blade styles are on here. Ghostbusters, all that stuff. It's all on here. It's ready to rock and roll with battle mode. You're up to date on 5.7 and all your new fonts on your Graflex, on your ESB Graflex. So that is for Smooth Jazz Family. So wanted to let you know that's done. I will probably upload your battle brick tomorrow, and I can get both those sabers sent out quickly. Next, this is a special project. Y'all know about this. So I ordered the mother of pearl accent grips on this, which y'all know what this is. I can't talk about it right now, but y'all know what this is. But I ordered the mother of pearl accent grips on this, and I upgraded this to Smooth Swing OS 5.7. And there is the chassis. Finished the chassis, which that's pretty cool. And I put a wrap on the battery too, which is pretty awesome. So that's a pretty clean install. I know the tape's sticking up there, but you know, that's a clean install right there. Very clean, very pretty. Y'all know this is a special saber for a special something. But it's really pretty. Those mother of pearl accents came out pretty awesome. I can't remember the address. I think I had the envelope here somewhere. Stand by. Laser Graphics Incorporated out of Irvine, California. I'll have to put his Facebook name up there. He didn't really have a business page, but I'll put this up there. Laser Graphics. Maybe you can find a web page for it. His name was Gene something or other. But they were pretty sweet. And they're in Irvine, California. But those mother of pearl accents are really, really sweet on that thing. That thing turned out beautiful. Inside and out. I'm working on the config file for it on OS 5.7 with battle mode. That thing turned out awesome. What are you going to do? In Israel, I showed you your Graflex last week. There it is, because I know you're dying to get it. But it's all, it's all up and running. And I actually put there is the chassis. And it's all up and running. We'll turn that thing on. It's just hobby tape, Kim Kanama. It's just hobby tape. That's that marble. You guys can see the marble there. Swing on. Full shine through. Stock lit connector. which I haven't done the blade plug for this yet, Israel. I need to do the blade plug. So Israel, well, I got you here. That's a good question to ask you. So there's a couple of options on the blade plug. Let me show you what they are real quick while I got you here. Graflex, and on your blade plug, I was going to go 1 inch, and I have a normal Graflex blade plug, and I also have, these are Dark Side Engineering razor blade plugs with a turbine in them. This is more screen accurate. This looks cooler. So if you want like a blade plug, Israel, I can make a blade plug for you, but I need to know which one. I can send you better pictures, but you basically have Graflex blade plug. Or Arkham razor blade plug. Bro. Mine has a razor blade plug in it. This is a razor blade plug in my Graflex. It's a razor blade plug. Yeah, Kim, I'll show you what the roll looks like. It's just a simple roll. Simple roll of hobby tape. That's all it is. I got all kinds of stuff up there. Alright. So, Israel, that's the biggest question for you, is which blade plug. Bada bing, bada boom. And then, lastly, the Star Killer. I don't know if y'all, some of y'all may not have seen that. Heavily weathered Star Killer, heavy rust. Try and show that in the light where y'all can see it. Very, very heavy rust. And then I finished the chassis on this thing. Okay, Israel, razor blade plug it is. No, Mike, I'm not even close to getting to the cross guards yet. There is the chassis, which I've weathered the chassis to make it look kind of rusty and cruddy. But this is just a simple, use your replaceable battery chassis and then do anything really special there. It's up to you, Israel. I'll send you some pictures and you can make up your mind on which one you want to do. When I do my KROR crossguard mic, it's going to be something, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before I can get to that, for sure. Let's bring this thing down a little bit. Sorry, y'all. You're going to be shaking. It's going to be a while. I just needed some room to swing some stuff around. But yeah, my Graflex. This was, this is great. I figured I was going to have to rip the TeensySaber out of this and put Profi in it, which would be a pain in the butt because the way the chassis is on this, it just would have been a pain in the butt. So to be able to use, Kapton tape's been good too. Kapton tape works good for those of y'all who want to do that. But Israel, your Saber is done. Just waiting on the font from Kyberphonics, and then your Saber is done. Your blade is already done. It's ready to go. I'll build your NeoPixel blade plug. I'll send you pictures of that while we're waiting on Jesse to send you that font. Oh yeah. Yeah, Kim, I weather the crap out of that Star Killer. Y'all see most of my hilts are shiny and sparkly. That on my personal Sabers, but on a Star Killer, no way. Star Killer, shiny. It's weathered. It was supposed to be. The Star Killers are supposed to look rough, and they're golden. But Smooth Jazz Family, Eric, I have already written the config file for your battle brick, and this is your battle brick. So this will have battle mode and all new blade styles, all new fonts. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. it'll be just as cool as the Graflex. I do not like that non-protected battery that the patch store put in there. That's very dangerous, but that's the only option you have in there. Yeah, it was buried in the desert in Tatooine. That is for sure. And Eric, your Graflex, your ESB Graflex, I've already updated it. It's already done, so it's ready to go. As soon as I get the Battle Brick config uploaded, which I already wrote the config, I've been doing that while in between doing everything else. I'm going to get that out. And then had another guy, Ryan, contacted me. Oh, thanks a lot, Vet263 on that. Fiesta. Ryan, I don't know if Ryan's on here or not. I haven't seen a Ryan in chat. But can you choose both? You can, Israel, if you want. Speed is just a matter of money, how fast you want to go. Remember, you know, Israel, you're just paying for parts on this thing, so the more parts you add, that's making the expense go up. But if you want both, I can do both. Just let me know. I'll send you pictures. But yeah, Israel, your Saber is done. Once Jesse emails me that custom font that he did for you, it's just a matter of me. I already have a bank for that font to go in, and I'm going to drop it in there, and off to the races you'll go. And we'll be there. But yeah, Sarmiento, your stuff is good to go. I can get it shipped off as soon as I program that Battle Brick, but I already wrote the config file, so it's ready to go. I've had a lot of Sabers churning out, and you know, a lot of them here lately have been config file upgrades, which that's fine. I can do config file upgrades. Range, hey, NeoPixel blade doesn't light up after wearing my PCB. The blade has an SMD resistor. The power is okay everywhere for the wires. I put the data wire of the blade to the data one of the Profi board. Is there a problem? Range Mafia. Obviously, there's a problem somewhere. Anytime you're building a blade, NeoPixels can be fickle. Let me get a NeoPixel strip out here, and I'll show you. So, let me try to find. So this is a NeoPixel strip, and the arrows are pointing this way. So let's say you attached your wires to this first NeoPixel on both sides of your strip, and you attach that to your PCB, and it's not lighting up. Then you could have a problem in this first pixel. And sometimes the solution to that is to cut the first pixel out. The key thing is, number one, can you test that blade in another NeoPixel Saber? And if the blade works in another NeoPixel Saber, then it's something inside of your Saber, not inside of the blade. If you don't have another Saber to test it in, you're going to have to pull the blade apart and test the blade. Once you test the blade and it lights up fine, then you need to suspect your wiring. Sometimes on Profi, it could be a config file error. If you didn't write your config file properly, or you didn't call for data 1 to control your main blade, or whatever order you listed your blades in down in the blade defines in the config, if you put your blade profiles in the wrong slots, you could get misfires there. So kind of hard to diagnose this on a live video, but you could have a ton of problems. I highly suggest that you post your problems on the Rebel Armory, www.rebelarmory.com. In fact, let's share the screen and we'll go there. Let's go to the Rebel Armory, and I'll show you where I'm talking about. And I'll try and share the address where you need to post it in here. So we go to the Rebel Armory, and then we go to Professoron's lab, and then I'm going to quote this, and I'm going to paste it into the chat so you guys know. Yeah, it's your first one. You know, NeoPixels can be fickle, but if you post your problem in here on this page, in this group, hopefully, you know, me or Fernando or Frederick can help walk you through the problems. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal to diagnose and fix, but don't be afraid of the forums. Facebook group Profi board help and open source Sabers can help. There's a lot of good help out there. The YouTube live video is kind of tough because I can't see what you're working with. And, you know, I can kind of give you some pointers and tips to look for. Anytime I have a blade that doesn't fire that I built, I have other sabers that I can just pop that blade in. And if they don't work in the other sabers that I know work, then I know the defects in the blade. Inversely, if I have a suspect blade, you know, that I don't know if it, well, I'm always testing it in other sabers. Also, let's say I have another blade that I can test in the saber and I put the other blade in and it works, then you also know it's probably in your blade. So there's a bunch of different things that you have to do. Okay. I will look at the Profi Board help group on Facebook and see if I can answer some of your problems. But on NeoPixels, a lot of times, with the first NeoPixel blade I ever built, it had bad first, second, and third pixels on both strips. And I ended up cutting 3 pixels out. Once I had cut those 3 pixels out, boom, the strip lit up just fine. But a lot of that is done via testing. And I'm trying to see if I got my test board convenient here. And I probably don't. But I actually have a Prism test board that I wired up that I test everything on. It's not convenient here for me to pull out. But I have an actual test board that I've pre-wired that I can plug in strips into that test board and test each strip before I make my blade. And that way, you know, I'm pretty confident by the time I put a, you know, pixel strips in a saber blade that they're going to work. I've never had problems once I started testing my strips. So that's always a good idea, is testing your strips. I'm going to take this blade out of my little test blade here, out of Sarmiento's saber. And this thing has 3 blade retention screws, Eric. That's crazy. But that battle brick is heavy. Good Lord, there's a lot of aluminum in that thing. And I'm going to put this test blade in my TeensySaber Graflex so I can swing it around while we're sitting here chatting. Yeah, that test rig that I built out of a Prism, which I'll try to find it here while I'm putting the blade into this thing. But that test rig that I built for, oh yeah, look at her go. TeensySaber, baby, still relevant. I made this saber 3 years ago. It's still awesome. Where is my test board at? Aha! I found it. So let me get that. Turn on some lights back here. And let's get some NeoPixel strips and come back to you guys. Ugh. Battle mode, Profi OS 5.7, running on TeensySaber. Saber's 3 years old, it's running the most current technology. That is the beauty and the difference of open source boards versus everything else. Would I sell a test rig? Sure, Max. I'll explain here in a second. But for instance, I can take, this is a brand new strip of NeoPixels, Range Mafia 95. This is a brand new strip of NeoPixels. And it looks like the arrow direction goes this way, so I can plug this into my test rig. And basically, I'll show you. This is my test rig, and I have it set up for NeoPixels. I have the same plug. I have the female plug here that plugs into the NeoPixel strips. I have 2 buttons. I have a speaker hooked on. I have a negative and a positive wire, and that's pretty much it. That's my test rig. You can do that with Profi, with Prism, with Nano Biscotti. And I'll bring in, looks like I'm going to have to use my voltage, my power supply, because my battery's on the charger. So let's bring in this stuff. Hopefully we hear a boot. And we do. And now I'm going to plug in these strips into my test board. And I'm going to, I guess I'll get these strips out so you guys can see it. So I'll unroll these strips. This is a brand new set of strips that I just got in. I just ordered 6 meters of 35-35 and got them all in. And I haven't even tested these yet, so this will be a good test. So now I've got my test strips and fire them up. So obviously those are successful. So that is basically what I do. Is I have that test rig, which is a soundboard. Now look, you don't have to buy a soundboard. They make NeoPixel controllers that you can buy on Amazon. They're like $5. Buy a NeoPixel controller on Amazon. That can be your test rig. And, you know, test your NeoPixel strips before you put them in a blade. Range, did you use... Oh, yeah. Yep. You don't... Hey, Colin. You don't have to do anything. I mean, I use Prism because I'm not going to install that in a Saber anymore. I mean, why would you install Prism? It doesn't have smooth swing. It's outdated. Plector's not making them anymore. So since I can't install it in a lightsaber, I might as well turn it into a test board. And it's a great test board. It tests the function of the NeoPixels, which is all I really care about. I don't care about smooth swing and all on my test board. I just want to make sure the NeoPixels work. And now I know that this strip is good. And that whole strip is excellent. So that's how I test my strips before I install them into a blade. If you did not test your strips before you put them into a blade, you could have some problems. But I test all my strips. There's my current inventory of NeoPixel strips. Probably enough in there to build several blades. Which, by the way, I forgot to talk about this. Do NeoPixel strips dim as time goes by, like the Force Effect string blades over time? Yeah, as your battery dies, you start losing strip brightness, but it's not as discernible as the Force Effects blades, Colin. But, you know, I wanted to tell you all about something. So I ordered some stuff from Space Windu, and I'm gonna try building one of Space Windu's TriStar blades. Copyright CivilizeSabers.com. And I'm gonna build a TriStar blade, and I'm gonna do it in a photon green blade, and I think I may do another one in an enhanced red blade, or I might do one for myself in a clear blade. I don't know. But I'll sell the photon blade because I don't like colored blades. I don't use them. But I know some of the guys that are just running, you know, like a Luke Skywalker blade, and they want the brightest green possible. I think the way to get the brightest green possible is with a photon blade and blue NeoPixels. And I'm going to do that TriStar blade with 3 35-35 strips in the photon blade. Now that's going to kill your batteries a lot quicker. You're going to have a 30% quicker battery drain. I would guess it would be around 30% quicker. I'm not doing zigzag max. No, you know, when Frederick did that, he did that with quad strips. I'm not doing zigzag. I'm actually just doing the triangle method. I've wanted to build a 3-strip blade since Scott DeBoer came out with the IntelliBlade. When I was building my first NeoPixel blades, I bought into the IntelliBlades, and you know, unfortunately, the IntelliBlades didn't really work out like I was hoping. I think if Scott's manufacturer had pulled that off in the right way for Scott, I think Scott would have had a corner on the NeoPixel market. Because what Scott was trying to do 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and maybe longer ago than that, KR has just now accomplished Cal with his strips. And I think Cal strips are awesome. Fernando said he was going to do them in parallel, and so they're not in series. And I think if Cal's strips were in parallel, that would solve my issues with Cal's strips. The fact that they're in series with every other NeoPixel kind of screws around with the NeoPixel effects we had programmed in. It deviated from our standard 144 per meter so greatly that the flame blades were drastically affected, Tron blade stripes, a lot of the effects that Fernando puts into the blade. Oh yeah, tell me about it, Mike, because I absorbed the cost on that. And you know, the IntelliBlades weren't cheap, and you know, that's one thing about Saber installing and trying new technology is sometimes you're the crash test dummy and sometimes you're the hero. And on the IntelliBlades, I was the crash test dummy on that one, but it's all right. You know, I actually ordered 2 of Cal strips, and I told you all I made my first KR blade, and that's going in this Saber, the Master Replicas, which Colin likes these. This is, you know, Colin's baby is his Master Replica Anakin Saber, and that's what this is. And I built that IntelliBlade to go in here, and when you're looking at the outside of the IntelliBlade, oh, gotta be careful with that. Brand new blade. This is the IntelliBlade, and when you're looking at the outside, there is no difference. You know, it's a lightsaber blade, but inside of here are KR strips. And, you know, the blade came out great. I'm very satisfied with how this blade performs in the Saber. It's bright, it's well diffused, it's easy to wire. I built this blade in half the time as a normal blade. It's really incredible. I enjoyed building that a lot. It definitely made it more timely. It wasn't, it didn't take as long to build the blade, which was nice. LGT Sabers have a dual setup. I am not sure. The only LGT that I have is one that I ordered empty, so I'm not sure what their installed Sabers are running. Try and catch up with everybody's comments. How do you wire the positive wire of the blade and the battery positive, please? Range Mafia 95. Let me link you to a video of one of my full installs. Stand by. Let's Windows share so you guys can see what we're doing here. We'll go to YouTube. And we'll go to my channel here. And let's go down to, like I have, if you go to my page, this is my YouTube channel. And if you scroll down, I have a whole section on tutorial videos. And I have this video, which I don't want it to play here. Let me share it. Copy this link. I'm going to put that link in the chat and send that to you. That's a full install video tutorial that I did. And the link is in the stream now, so we should be good. And in that video, I show you what I do with my battery positive and my NeoPixel positive. Is basically I merge them. And you'll see that in the video. You'll see how I do that in the video. I merge all my positives and run a pigtail to the board. There's a gazillion ways to skin a cat. My way isn't the right way. It's not the only way. It's just the way I do it. On a circuit, I should whip out that diagram that I did. But as long as you understand a circuit, you know, how you get that circuit complete is up to you. I understand electrical circuits, and I complete my circuits probably in a different way than other people would. I'm looking for my circuit diagram and I don't have it. But if you watch that video, you'll see how I pull off the wiring. That video is very in-depth from beginning to end on a full Profi install and NeoPixel. And I also have a NeoPixel blade building video in that same Profi tutorial section. So, you know, if you want to go back and tear apart your blade and do some of the testing that I do, I certainly show how to do that, including fixing problems in the NeoPixel strips was included in that video, and how to mend the NeoPixel strips. So there's a lot of helpful information already on my YouTube channel. If you understand how to navigate it, You know, I definitely have a lot of help videos that are already out there and published. But the caveat on that is my way is not the best way or the only way or, you know, the perfect way or the instructional way. My way is just my way. I have my own style. Like Jeff Birch, back when he was installing Sabers, he wires to the soundboard and then lets all his wires run long and then installs components via the wires that he's run out of the soundboard, where I do my installs from front to back. I install the NeoPixel adapter first, then the switches, then the battery, then the recharge port, speaker, all the components from the chassis, and then I have all my wires sticking up where my Profi is going to go, and then I cut them to length and start mounting the Profi that way. So that's just the way I do business. It's just a Guinness jersey. It's the sponsor of my channel. And I've been on call for like 3 weeks or something like that. And today is my first day off on call. And I've turned off my work phone, which is a beautiful thing. And I don't care what's going on at work. I don't have to be back at work till next Monday. And I'm off call. So it's a beautiful thing. Thus why I'm partaking tonight. But I've got to go help Ella on a school project here in a little bit. We got to do some lighting on a room she made for her home economics class. She did some interior design in a shoebox, and I got to go help her wire it up. Well, Kim, I'm glad. You know, when I was first starting to build Sabers, Alaska Vader and Shamim, and there were some others out there that helped me along the way. Shamim's videos were mainly helpful. Yes, I did, Jeff. I got some guttural laughs from Benji's video. A lot of his videos lately have been funny, man. I love that guy. And Benji wires, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I was talking about how you wired Sabers, you know, from the board out. And Benji and I both follow like the Shamim method, which was front to back. But I'm still using methods that I learned from watching Shamim's videos. Even though I'm wiring different soundboards and, you know, I'm wiring up Profis, but in the end, a soundboard is a soundboard. It doesn't matter whether you're wearing a Nano Biscotti, a Prism, a CFX, a Profi, a TeensySaber. You can use those methods either in Birch's way or Shamim's way. It doesn't matter. You know, you can develop your own style. That to me is the cool part about this hobby. You know, and sometimes we lose sight of that. That hey, the hobby is fun. To me, I enjoy building Sabers, and to me, this is stress relieving. You know, the fact that, and I really haven't talked about this a whole lot, but my day job, you know, is not installing lightsabers. My day job, which some of y'all know what I do, but I don't really like talking about it. Well, my day job is very stressful. So when I get home, when I'm building lightsabers or soldering Micom boards together or whatever I'm doing, I'm so focused on that. And you're so focused on those fine-tuned little minute things that the rest of the world and all the other problems that I've been dealing with at work are gone because you have to be focused in the moment. And when you're focused in the moment, all that peripheral garbage that happens to us every day kind of melts away. So in that way, saber building is kind of a healing instrument for me to cope with the stresses of my job. So that's about as much as I'll pour my heart out tonight. Well, the funny thing is, Jeff, is you're bending the wire over the pad method and then soldering. I'm doing that now. I'm like, every time I do it, I'm like, oh, Jeff Birch, you're a genius. As a matter of fact, if you go back and watch the live videos where I did the install on the Secret Saber that I can't talk about on this one, you know, when I did the install on this Saber, and I did this on a Monday live video, and I can't remember which live video it was, But and I added the mother of pearl accents on this thing too. Man, that thing is beautiful, beautiful. She is beautiful. But I did the install video on that saber, and I think while I was live, I was like, while I was live, I was thanking Jeff Birch for all his creativity in coming up with that method. Yeah, I have a similar situation, Darth Vader. A very similar situation. Well, Colin, I think that's already happening. Profis are a mini computer. They are. It's already there. Profis and TeensySabers are mini computers. As a matter of fact, this is a TeensySaber, and there is the microprocessing chip right there. This is a computer inside these sabers. I don't think we're far off. Who would have thought, you know, I'm going to whip this thing out and wake it up and then turn it off. Who would have thought? Because I didn't. When I installed this saber, and the same soundboard I installed in this saber 3 years ago is still in here, who would have thought that I could turn the saber on by moving it? Or when I turn the saber on, that I have lockup and I can get out of lockup all with gestures, basically. I mean, I just wouldn't have thought that. And the melt and all the stuff that we're doing on these things now, when I installed this saber, none of that was possible. But the computer programming part is gone ballistic. And guys like Fernando, which Fernando was on earlier, but guys like Fernando are just, their brains are just going a million miles an hour and cramming more and more stuff into these profis and do it, voice commands. Is that something far off where it could receive our voice and then do what we tell it to do? I don't think that's insurmountable on these boards in the future. I just don't. We can already control them with our cell phone. As a matter of fact, Israel Formus, Israel's lightsaber, you can control it with your cell phone. How much of another step is it to come up with a voice program to say ignite, retract, lock, you know, or whatever, and then the saber does it? Or to ask your lightsaber a question and it accesses the internet. We'll see you, Mike. Yeah, sweet. Look forward to seeing it. I still got to build my rig, so I haven't even built my rig yet because I've been buried in lightsabers. But once I get all these lightsabers, I think there's like 10 of them here shipped out, and they're all very close. Then I'll go and build my rig and hopefully build my Graflex. Because once I get all these lightsabers shipped out, my intention is to begin building the Mentor Graflex. And once I get that Mentor Graflex done, then I'll be willing to take on everybody's projects because all my babies will be built. But it's been busy. One question with Profi or any other board, this is Colin. Would you basically be able to program it to do whatever you want and not just saber functions? Yes, Colin. As a matter of fact, that's a good question. So the True 1777 and I, we are involved with basically a prop sound device that's called MyCom. It's an 8-button trigger feature thing. And we're actually using the Profi operating system to make our prop board do what we want. So basically what I'm saying is, and I know you've got a Boba Fett helmet, Colin. I mean, you and I have talked on email. We can take a character, a helmeted character like Darth Vader, Boba Fett, the Mandalorian, Chewbacca, Stormtroopers, First Order Stormtroopers, and we can put a device on within their costume where they can sound like their character. And now with our new prop shield, you can trigger background music, breathing loops that are all happening simultaneous with the voice. And the lines are programmed such that you can actually carry on a conversation with somebody, at least the typical conversations that happen on 501st Legion troops. So, yeah, it's already happening. Cole Weathers is on. Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Cole? I mean, that's not really that far outside the realm of possibilities, because I would have never thought you could do this stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's so much Profi can do, and I don't know what the future holds. I did not think, when I installed this Graflex lightsaber, which I'm still like over the moon about this. Let's go to a different part.
This is the weapon of a Jedi.
Luke Skywalker, did you come back to say you forgive me? To save my soul?
I never would have thought in a million years you could do that on a TeensySaber. When I installed this lightsaber, that was not possible. It is now. And not only is it possible now, it's doing it. And all I had to do was plug it into a computer and reprogram it. All I had to do was plug it into a computer and reprogram it. And that's the beauty of these open source boards, was their infinite updatability on the fly. And you didn't have to wait for one programmer or a company to drop a new feature to reprogram it. The new features are constantly evolving on the TRA in the alpha and beta testing of these new operating systems. Fernando, FET263, who he's sometimes on these streams, he's a big part of that OS modification. I do a lot of testing on the new operating systems. Although 3.9, 4.7, and 5.7 were testing so quickly, I didn't have as much of a chance to test on those as I would have liked. But on 3.9, I did test the blaster prop file. On 4.7, I tested some of the color changing features. And on 5.7, I tested marble, slice, and something else. The Micon prop files on Teensy 4.0. So the OS is constantly evolving, and there's a group of people that are helping it evolve. FET263 is huge. Matt McGreary, Dimitri Stock, Frederick, and there's a bunch of others. Obi-Rob Kenobi on the forums. There's a guy in Bulgaria, and there's a bunch of people that are constantly pushing the OS to evolve. So it's a beautiful thing watching all that. Yeah. You don't need a new board. The board in that Graflex Lightsaber Max is, like I said, coming up on 3 years old. And I thought I was going to have to rip that thing out and install a Profi in there. And nope. TeensySaber runs it. TeensySaber's not as good as Profi with the NeoPixel effects. It's, you're getting some, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but when I first ignited it, let's see if I can get it to do it. You see that green tint that happened? I don't know if y'all are catching that because it's happening so quick, but there's like a green tint that's happening when I first light it up. So the NeoPixel effects, it has some timing issues still in the NeoPixels on TeensySaber, but Profi doesn't have that because Profi's LED files are probably more up to date than Teensy files. Yep. That stuff is awesome. Yep, NEC. A lot of my installs have been NEC Darth Vader. I was a huge NEC guy. My first ever install was a crossguard with NEC, basically a Hasbro Black Series Kylo Ren lightsaber that I put a Spark 2 board in. This was my first ever install. Then I did a Graflex with Nano Biscotti, which I've now reinstalled that Graflex with Profi. That was my Profi 1.5 Beta Saber that had the OLED screen and Bluetooth in it. But also my first NeoPixel lightsaber ever, which is Mako, which is still over on my shelf, is installed with Igniter 3. And it still has Igniter 3 in it. It was the first NeoPixel lightsaber I ever built. The first time I ever ignited a NeoPixel lightsaber with a NeoPixel blade was on a Igniter. Well, Colin, programming is interesting. It's not fun when you're buried in it and trying to figure out what errors you've come up with, but when you have a vision and you can bring it to life through those words in the programming language, and the reward is not necessarily in writing the language, it's in writing the language successfully that gets implemented, and then lighting up your lightsaber and seeing what you've designed come to life, like battle mode. I couldn't have written that. I mean, Fernando's, I still don't, like, the whole blade style thing's kind of gotten away from me. I used to be able to go in the blade style editor and make my own lightsaber blades, and now that's gotten too complicated. But you have Fernando's blade style page, and you can go there and copy and paste. So there's not a lot of programming for building profis. None whatsoever, unless you want to do specific stuff to them. You can copy and paste all the stuff Fernando did. But, the stuff that those folks do that are working on the OS mods, their reward is when their lightsaber comes to life doing all the stuff they designed it to do. Like, battle mode was a thing of genius. That battle mode was just outright incredible. That's true, Jeff. Tricrease, right? Let's see. Ancient history, Bubba. I got a lot of these things. This isn't mine. This is from a Saber I gutted, but this is the old style. This is a Tricree with lenses and a blade holder and a bunch of wires and resistors. That is true, Jeff. They'll never know about all that. I don't think it's scary, Colin. I always get excited to turn on a Saber and make sure it works. And we've all, through the Spurs tour, and had the blue smoke of death. Oh, that's always bad. That sucks when that happens. Smooth Jazz Family, yes. Onboard memory is the same relatively from Profi 1.5 to Profi 2.2. Yeah, that'll be interesting, Cole. I am not a Mac guy. I'm a PC guy. And I hope that Arduino runs on the new M1 Max. I don't know. I haven't heard. Yeah, battle mode is awesome. Ugh. I'm sorry to hear that, Rich. I hope you get better. That sucks. Take care of yourself and don't contaminate anybody. And COVID's definitely running rampant. We're not allowed to talk about COVID on here. We'll get my stream banned. But I hope you get better, Rich. That definitely sucks. I think I had it in February. I don't know if you guys remember my live streams in February. I was really sick. I was actually out of work. And I traveled to Miami, Florida. And I was in Miami International Airport. And this was right in February of 2020. Right before everything went all crazy. And I came home and like 6 days later I was deathly ill. Lost my sense of smell, sense of taste, had a fever, had chest congestion. And I was sick for about a week. And back then they weren't testing, but I'm pretty sure I had it. So Israel, battle mode is great because before to initiate lockup or tip drag or melt, you had to go through a series of button press and hit everything just right. But with battle mode, all you do is make contact. Let me show you. The cool thing about battle mode is I need a full-size blade in here or you're not going to even be able to see it. So let me put a full-size 1-inch blade in here so you can see it. Yeah, I think I had it, Max. I think I already had it. I had it in February, about a year ago. All right, so Israel, I'm going to show you battle mode. So I'm going to turn the saber off. Now I'm going to knight it with the buttons. Now, used to be to get to lockup, you had to, on this one, you had to press and hold Ox. So there's lockup. To get tip drag, you had to point the saber down and then hold lockup, which I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see that. And then lightning lock was that's lightning block. Now this is all with buttons. And then to turn it off, you had to use buttons. So with battle mode, bam, swing on the saber. I didn't touch one button, and I'm going to clash with another lightsaber. And you can see it locks up automatically. I don't have to touch a button. And when I pull it away, it stops. It starts. When I pull it away, it stops. Lock up. When I pull it away, it stops. Now, we get to the other cool features of battle mode is I don't have to push a button to get melt. I'm going to push it into the wall. And now I've got melt, which is responsive to my twist. And when you pull it away, it stops. And then to get tip drag, all you do is point it down toward the ground. And bada bing, there you go. And my hand's melting. I'm melting! I'm melting! And gesture ignitions. You can swing it on. You can thrust it on. Oh. You can twist it off. You can twist it on. So battle mode just allows you to get to features of the saber, and that's my Graflex. Battle mode just allows you to get to features of the saber without having to go through a series of button presses. So it just simplifies it and makes it a lot easier to run your saber. Oh yeah, Smooth Jazz Family, you're going to have that on your saber. I'm going to have to make instructional videos for that too, so that you guys get it. But that's battle mode. Yes. So battle mode is going to be on your saber, Israel. So if you turn your saber on with a swing or a thrust or a twist, you're going to automatically be in battle mode. But if you turn your saber on with the buttons, you'll have the traditional button reactions that the lightsaber is designed to do. And I'll do a video on how to operate the whole thing. And I'll also send you written instructions on which buttons to press. Yeah. I find myself using battle mode almost exclusively now versus running it in traditional mode because I can swing the saber around and do all the things I want to do. And then when I want to clash with somebody, it automatically locks up. I don't have to press a button. It just, for choreography and realistic lightsaber duels with people, battle mode. Battle mode's incredible. Yeah, it's a pain. You know, it used to be a pain when you used to have, hang on a second, I know you're throwing force lightning at me, but let me hit these buttons in this button, that button sequence. Okay, now I got force lightning. Now I'm blocking your force lightning. Or let me hold on to my auxiliary button so I can make it look like we're locking up, where now it does it automatically. And it does it through the motion gyros in the Profi board. That shows you how smart Fernando is. Frederick never intended these gyro boards to be used in that manner. I don't think Frederick even envisioned what Fernando did with battle mode. I think Frederick was totally floored when Fernando came up with that. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you have all these people with all these crazy ideas, and Frederick's like, yeah, I'll implement that. And then it got implemented. That's crazy. That's a huge compliment to FET 263. You know, for Frederick to adopt so many of the things that Fernando has wanted to do. Shows you that Frederick trusts and respects in Fernando's vision, and that it is parallel with Frederick's vision, even though I think Frederick never envisioned these lightsabers to do what they're doing now. It's incredible. So yeah, Israel and Eric Sarmiento, your lightsabers are going to do this too. If you didn't know. And, you know, on top of all the new fonts you're going to have, Eric, and all the new blade styles I wrote, the Ghostbusters thing is awesome. I put the Ghostbusters thing on your Saber too, Israel, but it's a Ghostbusters font and a Ghostbusters blade, and it has the Ghostbusters soundtrack in the background. I'll show that next week. That's awesome, Joshua. Hopefully you got it with somebody that's reputable, that knows what they're doing. Cross guards are a pain in the butt to build, and a lot of guys don't like building them, but you know, a cross guard properly built, especially if they're run on Profi, is a powerful, powerful tool. My cross guard that's on TeensySaber is still awesome. I love it. And the cross guards that I built using Profi for the True 1777 and Wilkinson, and I sold another one to a guy that lived in Guatemala. Those sabers are all awesome. They're still working today. And, you know, very, very cool lightsabers. Cross guards on Profi and NeoPixel. But, well, yeah, it's on your Saber, Israel. Basically, I went and grabbed a lot of Kyberphonics stuff and just put it on your Saber. You have a lot of Kyberphonics fonts on your Saber. I think you're up to like 20 presets right now, and your memory is 98% full. And that last preset bank I have for his custom font, imagine once I add that, I may have to take some of the presets I added away, but it'll definitely keep you entertained for hours. Oh, I know, Cole. Isn't that crazy? And this Graflex for Israel Formus, and Israel's on here tonight. I mean, he's in Spain. I've got Sabers in Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, Spain, Canada, Mexico, Guatemala, all over the United States. It's crazy to think about that. You know, when we're doing these live streams, we've got people from all over the world on here. Hey, Jared, how are you doing? Good to see you, Jared McDaniel. Everyone that I build sabers for, I mean, they're going all over the world, and that's pretty heavy. And it's always scary to send a saber. Like I'm worried about Israel's Saber. It's going to ship across the ocean to Spain, and it's fragile, and I have to pack it in a way that it survives the trip, because if it doesn't, it's very expensive sending the stuff back and forth for me to fix it. So I want to make sure that I pack it so that no matter what the shipping companies do with the box, and, you know, they throw them around and throw them up on the planes and throw them down on the ground, I have to pack it so it survives. And, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking shipping something across the ocean, but I'm pretty excited. We'll be shipping Israel's Saber off to Spain here, I would imagine, in the next week and a half, hopefully. Depends on when Jesse gets me that updated sound font, that custom sound font for Israel. But as soon as I get that Saber's going to Spain. I've got 2 more Sabers going to Taiwan. I've got Sarmiento's got 2 Battle Brick and a Graflex, both going out to California. I installed the Graflex for him, but I've updated it to Battle Mode with OS 5.7 and added some fonts. And on his Battle Brick, upgraded to OS 5.7 on Battle Mode and added some fonts and presets. Oh, something happened in the other room. I'm going to have to go here in a minute. But at any rate, I don't know. Sound like we might have just had an electrical malfunction, so I'm going to have to go check on Ella here. Did y'all hear that boom in my house? Was there an explosion? She okay? She's fine. Okay. All right. I guess I don't have to run right away. Yep. Well, that's probably going to be the Star Killer Smooth Jazz family. And I'm pretty close to done on that Saber, but I want to make sure that we get Israel's Saber, your 2 Sabers, another Saber in North Carolina I got, the 2 Taiwan Sabers, and another North Carolina Saber here that I got to get out to their owners. Once I get all that off my desk, then I'll focus on putting a video together for the Star Killer and getting it out there and out for sale. So that'll be the next one that goes for sale. Hey, Michael Dallin. I saw you check on earlier. I forgot to say hey to you. But I wanted to say hey to everybody. But yeah, so Profi OS 5.7 battle mode, even on TeensySaber. Wow. And it's going on all these Sabers going out. I'm excited for you guys to get them and try them out. It's very, very, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. But I guess that's about it for tonight. And, you know, if y'all ever have questions or you're working on a Saber and you're not sure, you know, there are videos from me and other people that are out there on the internet that you can go look at to check them out. You know, make sure that there's more thumbs up than thumbs down and not a lot of negative commentary in the comments. Because there is some bad stuff out there on the internet too, but my stuff is okay. Sure wish I had some better cameras so you guys could see what I was doing better, but you know, check out those videos if you need some help. For a NeoPixel crossguard, Joshua, that's pretty low. My NeoPixel crossguards with custom built blades, including the side pixels, I wouldn't let go for any less than 1100, and that doesn't include shipping. So 830 is a little low. Is that with CFX or Profi? And also, did you buy? Yeah, I know, right, Israel? I'm gonna pack it the best I can. I know it's your baby, but I will pack it in a lot of foam and a lot of bubble wrap and hoping it arrives to you good. But yeah, Joshua, I think that's a good price. It depends on what soundboard, you know, and I don't know who built the NeoPixel blades for it, but the NeoPixel blades are just as important as the install on a crossguard. We'll see you, Colin. Yep, hashtag nerd up. Let's put that in there for Jeff. We'll be like Jeff. We'll put that in the comments here. Make sure we do that. Yeah, that's a very good price on a Profi. Very, very good price on the Profi. Very good price on Profi. A Profi crossguard. The funny thing is, Joshua, is a lot of installers don't want to touch the crossguards because there's so much work. You know, building a single blade saber is a lot of work. Building a 3-blade saber is a headache because sometimes if you run into a problem on any of the blades, you have to go back and figure out, is it the blade? Is it the wiring to the adapter? Is it my wiring on the Profi? There's just a lot of work. Well, hopefully he's using good blades. I used 7/8 proplicators in the crossguard installs that I did. And I had to modify the inside of them. And I used 35-35 strips. And I was able to get the strips almost to the end. But couldn't get them all the way to the tips. But they still lit up satisfactorily to me. But you got to know what you're doing to build those Quilliams. But if he does it right, then you're going to have one heck of a... Oh yeah, Ronan Saber's a good guy for sure, Joshua Trejo. I've heard good stuff about Ronan's. Ah, that's awesome, Jeff. Yeah, you know, I don't build thousands of Sabers. I'm not like Shamim or some of those other guys. I mean, I'm just not building a lot of Sabers here lately. I'm doing more reprograms of existing installs than I am installing. But my installs are going to be pricey, especially on a crossguard. But you know, sometimes you get what you pay for. But yeah, I wouldn't let a crossguard go for less than $1,100 just because of the amount of hours of work and troubleshooting in them. But we're definitely over an hour. Definitely over an hour. Kmart sucks for you guys. But we got to get rolling. I want everybody that's in the continental, and remember, not all my viewers are in the USA, so don't be ethnocentric. We have viewers in Spain and Mexico and Canada and all over the place. And I'm not saying Jeff Birch is from Canada, but everybody that's in the United States and Estados Unidos, happy Thanksgiving, and be with your families, and pray that all this COVID nonsense comes to an end. And really wish for our viewers that are affected by COVID to get better, and we pray for their family, and hashtag nerd up. And it's great seeing all of you tonight. I got to go help Ella because something exploded downstairs. But I hope all you have a happy Thanksgiving with the family. Yeah, 97X, bam! The future of rock and roll. Dead on, Jared McDaniel. You got it. Yeah, I'll email you some photos, Israel. I got to go help the explosion downstairs. Yes, it does, Jeff. I know what you mean. So everybody will hopefully see you next week. And I'm back to work next week. Boo! I'm going back to work, but I'm off now. But we'll see you guys later. May the force be with you all. And we'll see you next week. And I might pop on live during the week to give updates on other stuff, including on Smooth Jazz Family Sabers. But we'll see you guys next week. May the force be with you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, as usual. I really appreciate y'all tuning in on my channel. And as always,